methods that athletes have been caught using to dope?
Okay, so there are actually the substances are divided into certain categories, mainly three of them. So there are substances that is prohibited at all times, and also in competition or like in some particular sports. Okay, so the prohibited substances that are prohibited at all times are mainly non-approved substances, meaning maybe drugs or medication that is not yet marketed or under clinical stages or maybe discontinued, in fact. Others are enabling agents such as steroids. We also have peptide hormones, growth factors, beta-2 agonists, hormones, metabolic modulators, and so on. Some substances are prohibited in competition, mainly stimulants, narcotics, cannabinoids, and glucocorticoids. While, as I mentioned, prohibited in particular sports, for example, beta blockers. They are prohibited in golf, darts, and automobile, and also shooting. As for methods, there are various methods. Mainly manipulation of blood or blood components. That's like artificially increasing oxygen uptake, transport, or delivery to improve stamina. There are also chemical and physical manipulation where they are trying to alter the test that is taken, whether it's urine or blood. And also, lastly, we have gene and cell doping. Basically, it's just altering your DNA, whether we edit our gene or gene silencing, and it's also gene transfer technology. So actually, it's a tough job for WADA. They need to be alert, and they need to always be updated with.
They got to stay ahead of the game, because there are scientists. There are some, I should call them rogue scientists, who are constantly trying to find ways on how they can help athletes, gain the advantage, and at the same time stay out of the radar of WADA when they get tested, when these athletes get tested.
True. So it's a challenge for them.
And that's why, apart from, the World Anti-Doping Code, they've also come up with international standards of testing, international standards of education, lots of international standards to raise the bar on, not only combating and catching these athletes who have cheated, but also educating other athletes, upcoming athletes, that, you should stay away from cheating. Let's jump in for a quick break. It's a very fascinating, interesting discussion that I'm very interested to delve deeper on, Shafieza. Today on Health on Traxx, I'm speaking to Shafieza Hanim binti Saruddin. She's a pharmacist from Klinik Kesihatan Segambut, and she's today talking to us about pure performance, competing without doping. Don't go anywhere. Health on Traxx. We'll be right back. Good morning and welcome back to Health on Traxx. My name is Anil on the mic. And today on Health on Traxx, we're speaking about pure performance, competing without doping. And sharing her insights today is a pharmacist from Klinik Kesihatan Segambut. Her name is Shafieza binti Saridin. Shafieza, welcome back to Health on Traxx.
Yes, thank you.
Now, Shafieza, talking about athletes using performance enhancement drugs, PEDs, or these banned substances, as they are called. No doubt it can give them an edge in competing, but there is a reason why these are called banned substances, because it does come with its own set of risks and side effects, and some of them are long-term.
Yes, that's true. Everything has its pros and cons.
Right. So can you tell us more about the risks that come along with consuming banned or prohibited substances for athletes who want to dope?
Okay, right. Sure thing. Okay, so the WADA, the World Anti-Doping Agency, they have strict detection system where they test the athletes' urine or blood. Okay, so whichever athletes, whether they've won a medal or not, okay, let's say if they did earn a medal, okay, their medal will be revoked if the test is found to be positive.
A sanction, as they call it. Yeah, they'll be sanctioned. A ban.
Yes, and they will be also banned for a certain period of time.
Either 2 years or 4 years.
Yes, okay. So when it comes to the side effects, okay, not everyone knows the side effects.
Right.
Maybe like me, a pharmacist, or maybe doctors.
Yes,
okay.
yes.
So I'll just go brief through. For example, we have anabolic agents that is frequently used. Okay, so anabolic are like steroids.
Yeah.
Okay, they can cause baldness, acne problem, hair growth, and for female, the characteristic might look like male. While male will turn into female if they use steroids in the wrong way.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and also they'll have mood swings, infertility, and also some steroids needs to be injected, so they are exposed to the danger of sharing needles. Okay. Others are stimulants. Okay, stimulants will cause increase of heart rate that will lead to increase of blood pressure. Combined with excessive physical activity, okay, they will lead to poor regulation of body temperature. Okay, so they will overheat basically.
Yeah.
We also have diuretics. Okay, diuretics have a long history with IOC. Okay, it has been banned since 1988, where athletes have been using for mainly two reasons. One is to meet their weight categories, okay, by reducing the water from the body, and also to obscure other doping agents used by reducing their urine concentration.
Okay. You mask whatever that you've already taken, just to hide it so it goes undetected.
Okay. So these substances, if they are not aware of the side effect, it is very harmful. Okay, it can lead to thirst and severe dehydration. It can lead to fluid and electrolyte imbalance, hypotension, which means low blood pressure, thromboembolic episodes, abnormal heartbeats, and also hyperglycemia, which means high blood glucose. Okay, so there are cases where athletes even died from taking diuretics. Okay, we have Muhammad Benaziza, who died in 1992 following severe dehydration and cardiovascular failure. And also in 1996, bodybuilder Andres Manzer died of liver and kidney failure for overdosing of diuretics.
See, this is another thing that I strongly advocate as well when I meet little children who are participating in little leagues, little soccer leagues, little kids who are playing badminton and aspiring to become, world-class athletes. Because we've heard stories of not only competitive athletes, they have stories as well of little kids who have that pressure. They get so much of pressure either from their coaches or their parents to perform, and then somewhere along the way they meet an irresponsible person in the world of sport who introduces them to something and says, try this out. And tell me what you feel, and then they take that, and then they see a sudden shift in their performance, and then they become so reliant on that. And we've even heard of stories of little kids also dying because of substance abuse as well. And I think this is where the element of sports nutrition comes into the picture, that apart from relying on these performance enhancement substances, if aspiring athletes, little kids who are playing sport, if they have a proper regimented nutrition plan, eat the right food, have a proper nutrition to nourish your muscles, your body, your fibers, your metal, and at the same time, a separate nutrition to help you recover after training. Because that's another thing as well, that a lot of athletes I see that they get involved in doping is because they compete, and then after competing, they have a very short window until the next competition window, until they have their next competition. And they fully haven't recovered yet from the stress or the trauma that the body has underwent from the previous contest. And then they take things like, I'm not going to say, but there are many, clenbuterol, nandrolone, all of these substances
Yes.
to help them recover. In your opinion, what would you say to parents who are, grooming their children to become athletes? How you think they can speak to their children? What's your advice to them?
Okay, actually, in Malaysia, we have ADAMAS. Okay, so ADAMAS is Malaysian Anti-Doping Agency.
Yeah.
They have several approaches. Okay, mainly is to educate athletes themselves, educate parents, coaches, and even whoever is associated with the athletes themselves. Okay, so there are multiple methods. Okay, as you mentioned, children, right? They are prone to this. So ADAMAS, they focus on young athletes, usually around aging 13 to 17.
Yeah.
Okay, they focus on applying noble values and integrity in sports. Okay, in hope that athletes, especially young ones, will be more careful about what they take. Okay, so actually, it's not only about the athlete. Okay, we need collaboration from several national sports associations.
Right.
It's a community thing, not just individual. Okay, but if it's when it comes to youngsters, maybe it is the adult's responsibility.
But I think they are the ones, steering away from the elite athletes. There's a reason why they are called elite athletes, because they've been through the ranks and they are competing at an elite level. So they're expected to know, the anti-doping rule violations. They're expected to know, what are the substances that are not supposed to be found in their system. But these young ones, the ones who are 13, 14, 15, who are climbing up the ranks, playing recreational sport, school-level competition, Kebangsaan level tournaments, climbing up the ranks to make a name for themselves before sort of graduating into this elite level. These are the ones that we need to educate them on. Because they're in a very crucial period right now. And once they step into the elite stage, and with these values that we're trying to inculcate in them to compete clean, participate clean without resorting. And also I think, it's also this false notion that if you compete in sports, you must win. Don't you think so? It's like, you look back at times, most of these athletes, for them it's winning. I must win. I must win. But in true essence, sport is so democratized. It is actually so accessible that anyone, as long as it's like a team event, as long as you made it to the national team, that by itself is a big feat. Don't you think so? You made it to the national team. And I think you shouldn't put any pressure on the athlete. If they win, of course. Because when it's said and done, when they reach a high level, it's more mental than it's physical, actually. Come think of it. At the highest level of sport, we've seen it in the Olympics. Physical maturity, the body has peaked. Everything that you need to work on physically is there. That slight edge, that 1% actually stems from your mental strength, right? And I think, you mentioned something really, really good there. And now, just dive deep and talk to us about some of the steps taken on a global level to combat anti-doping, Shafieza.
Okay, so the global level is we know WADA. WADA, they collaborate with certain agencies to combat this doping. As I mentioned, in Malaysia we have ADAMAS, which focuses on the young athletes to
educate them.
Yes, educate them, so that they don't go into all this doping. Okay. Actually, we also they also organize anti-doping education webinars for athletes, coaches, and members. Okay, in fact, they actually post tons of educations.
A lot of educational videos.
On Facebook,
website.
Instagram, and X. It's all a click away,
Yes.
Yeah, so mothers, fathers, the athletes themselves, they can just go and learn about all these things. Okay, and actually, it's not only food that brings athlete all these things and strengths. We also require a lot of training, commitment, dedication, to get where they are today.
Right. Training, commitment, dedication, and a positive spirit. And also, not to be brought up thinking that winning is everything. Yeah, winning is great. You want to win, you represent your nation. But for a young child, a teenager who's getting involved in sport, it's the spirit of participation.
Yes, the sportsmanship.
Sportsmanship. Because I think that if you dope, or if an athlete consumes a performance enhancement substance or a banned substance, you are actually robbing the opportunity from another athlete who has worked really hard to reach the same stage and compete with you. Come think of it when it's in sports, right? The world would have only known who a Usain Bolt was only if he had 7 other runners running with him at the 100-meter dash.
Yes.
If it was Usain Bolt alone running, well, no one would have known. Yeah, he would have beat the record, but he needed some guys to actually run along with him. And also, kids need to be also thought or shared with stories of athletes who have been caught cheating. It was such a pity. I was shattered when I heard Lance Armstrong, an athlete that I just admired so deeply for his prowess cycling, the Tour de France. He's a legend. And then when he was caught cheating, we've heard of athletes like Marion Jones, this woman. When she ran, oh my goodness, I tell you, every other girl wanted to have that physique that she had and run with that grace that she did, with her strides at the 100-meter dash. Beautiful stories we've heard. This baseball player, Barry Bonds, he used to hit a home run out of the ballpark just like hitting a small peanut with that baseball bat. Everyone was in awe. And then he himself got caught with the Balco scandal, the Bay Area Laboratory Collective. Many, many scandals. And then what happens? These athletes who were once upon a time legends, people who looked up to them, they were like worshipped. They've become sort of garbages of society. The sport sidelines them. Your thoughts on this? What do you personally think that about this?
Yeah, it's actually a pity because I myself, I'm into sports.
Yeah,
I play sports, and it's a shame when we hear that other people are taking substances.
Yeah,
and they win. It's unfair.
Unfair.
It's really unfair.
Very.
Okay? That's why the WADA, we have 3 main reasons why they created this ban. Okay, number 1 is because of health. Okay, we want our athletes to be healthy, to be in their best shape.
Yes.
Okay, and doing everything based on their own abilities. Okay, and also as we mentioned, fairness. Okay, it wouldn't be fair to other athletes that are clean. Yeah, they're doing this all by themselves, and then there is a certain minority that goes
just to rob it away from them.
Yeah, and also lastly is because of legality. Okay, some substances that are taken are illegal.
Yeah.
Okay, basically. So yeah.
Okay. And it's also Shafieza, it's important for athletes also to know, or rather, I should differentiate them, because there are clean athletes out there and there are athletes who also consume. It's important for them to know that, don't you think so, Shafieza, that there is life after competitive sport? They need to know that this is not everything. You are at the peak of your physical performance. You worked hard. You're an elite level competitor. Okay. Now, before you make that active decision, again, our lawyers are very good at twisting these words when an athlete gets caught, because there's this broad term, advertently or inadvertently, in the anti-doping rule code, the World Anti-Doping Code. But they need to know that there is life after competitive sport. And if you burn your body or if you damage your internal system with these performance enhancement drugs, it has a flow-on effect, right? Tell us about some of that. What are the side of long-term effects of athletes who actually... Okay, but anyway, as a pharmacist, what do you think is your role in anti-doping?
Okay, so as pharmacists, mainly the National Pharmaceutical Regulatory Agency, NPRA, we continue to identify unregistered health supplements or medicinal products containing these prohibited substances. Okay, as myself, I'm here right now delivering this talk. We're having this conversation about doping. Okay, it's to educate athletes, and our listeners, of course, our future fathers that might go into these sports. Okay, basically, if you want to give any supplement for that product to be registered by the KKM. Okay, if you want to check the product is registered or not, okay, then we can go to the NPRA website, which is npra.gov.my. Go to product search and just check the medication whether it's registered or not. If it's unregistered, then there might be a danger in there because it might be contaminated with substances that are unknown and harmful to the.
If I'm not mistaken, I think there is a website that actually lists out some of the supplements that are allowed and that are banned by WADA, because they do some batch testing for because sometimes I've heard of stories where an athlete doesn't consume anything that's banned, doesn't consume performance enhancement drugs or substances, or rather they just consume some supplements, but then it turns out that that particular supplement, that batch that was manufactured was contaminated. And due to that contamination, that's how that banned substance got into their system. So, there's something called batch testing. So it's important, like you mentioned, check the labeling on each supplement before you consume them. Know what you consume. And of course, before it goes into your mouth, make sure you've done all of your checks as well. Any websites in particular that you want to highlight?
It's npra.gov.my. Okay, you can just go to product search at the top of the search bar, and then we can choose. Okay, there are two categories: pharmaceutical or cosmetic. So if it's cosmetic, whatever we apply on face or lotion or whatsoever, if you're unsure, you can just check. So as for pharmaceutical, usually supplements or maybe products, anything that we consume. Okay, we can check that too.
Right. Yeah, it's some people may think, what, even supplements can lead to me being to an athlete being caught for doping. Yes, because I can give you many examples of professional boxers and some athletes who travel to another country and then they eat meat. They eat this beef that's being cultivated, grown in that particular country, Mexico or some countries, and then they consume that beef, and then they go in for a doping test, and they found that some adverse findings in their urine, and it's testosterone or it's clenbuterol or some of these steroids that you would take to enhance muscle mass. But then the athletes argued. They said, no, I didn't take this. I never consumed. I didn't shoot myself up, nor did I, take anything orally. I don't know how this got into my system. And then when they traced it back, they discovered that the meat in that country, the beef in those countries are actually injected with these.
It actually happened to the recently the Olympics to the Chinese team swimming team. It happened to them. It found out that there was traces of trimetazidine, which could enhance their stamina and things like that. So around, I think 32 or some sort of players like that, they consume it and failed the doping test.
But as much as it's good to know that there is an organization like WADA in Malaysia. We've got Adamas that's working very hard to ensure that sport is clean, right? To oust out and catch these cheaters and give a chance. But retrospectively, looking back at for example, Carl Lewis and Ben Johnson, when these two guys ran and Ben Johnson won the gold and he was caught cheating. And then they gave that medal to Carl Lewis. You know what he said? He said, yeah, you may have given it to me, but that podium finish, that 100-meter finish, can you give me that moment back again? Can you give me that photo finish of me running and crossing the finish line again? Ben robbed it away from me. Ben took it away from me. And I'll never forgive him at all for the rest of his life. You see the impact that it can create on another athlete's life? So sport has to be saved. Sport has to be preserved. And I thank you for coming over here and giving us an opportunity to learn more about this, Shafieza, giving me an opportunity to also share.
It's an honor. Thank you,
Anil. Yeah. You take care, and we look forward to having you in the studios. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, that's a wrap for today's edition of Health on Traxx. We spoke about pure performance, competing without doping. Well, yeah. Sport is clean, sport is pure, true sportsmanship. People always say sportsmanship. What is sportsmanship? Sportsmanship is when an athlete, fellow athlete reaches his hands out to lift an athlete up who has fallen down. No, I don't think so. You know what is sportsmanship? Sportsmanship is when an elite level athlete, an athlete who is, far superior in his or her sport, and when he's put in a playing ground where he has to compete against another athlete who is not at par with him. But then this athlete who's at a higher level is able to bring his performance level down and match the performance level of his competitor and give him a good fight. Isn't that something we all love to see when we watch sport? That is sportsmanship. And that can only be achieved if an athlete is clean, is disciplined, with a high level of integrity. And what is integrity? Doing the right thing when no one's watching you. Thank you very much for being with us on Health on Traxx. We got the news coming up at 12, and then I'll be seeing you back for the third hour of Traxx Momentum. Anil on the mic, signing off. Don't go anywhere.